The okapi are once believed to be mythological, being a cross between a donkey, a zebra, and a giraffe. They weren't discovered until 1901. No one can find them, but ta-da, we found them! Yeah. Here on the left-hand side, you'll find a couple of bongos for orange animals. Bongos are known as the ghosts of the forest. They have white stripes to help them blend in with their different surroundings. You'll also see the greater kudu here to the left. There's a couple here to the right as well. Greater kudu we have here on the reserve are females. Males with very large spiral horns are strong company. They are the second tallest antelope in all of Africa. They stand 5.5 feet tall at the shoulder. They can also jump over 8 feet in the air. There's a black and white bird here to the left. This is a saddle-billed stork. They get their name because they look like they have a saddle on their bill. Super complicated. The way some males and females apart is by their eye color. Males will have brown eyes, females will have yellow eyes. Their wingspan is around 10 feet long. There is a black rhino taking a snooze over here on the left. Black rhinos are 3,000 pounds. They are solitary animals. They like to live alone. They're also a subspecies to the white rhino, which we might see a little bit later on today. Black rhinos are less than 5,000 of them left in the entire animal today. Unfortunately, they're being poached for their horns, which contain a mineral called keratin. It's what our fingernails are made up of. Poached rhinoceros horn is literally nothing. All keratin does is grow. They can file their horns just like how we can file our fingernails. That being said, if they crack, break, or fall off, they will grow back since they're not attached to their skull. Very unfortunate the poachers are after them for something that we don't even need. That has made their population decrease from 65,000 back many years ago to just under 5,000 here today in 2021. With helper reserves like ours around the world, we'll be able to continue to repopulate them to put them back into the wild in the future. Our next stop, we're heading up here in the Snowy River. It's home to the Nile hippopotamus as well as the Nile crocodile. Two very territorial animals as well as two of the most dangerous animals in all of Africa. A fully grown hippo can be up to 5,500 pounds. Baby hippos will be around 85 pounds when they are born. So you look here on the right-hand side, there's a hippo grazing. Hippos are grazers with a G. They graze on grass, whereas something like a rhino that's a brazier with a B, they graze on bush. Hippos are nocturnal. They hunt at night. Females. Wait a minute, they don't hunt. Never mind. They are vegetarian. They are super territorial, so if something invades their space, they're going to mark their territory with their poop. You're welcome. On the left-hand side, you'll find the pelicans. The pink-backed pelicans get their color on their standard mating season when they need to find a mate. They'll flock with around 20 to 500 pairs of pelicans. Quite a lot of birds, if you ask me. Their wingspan is around 8 feet long, as long as they can be on the top of the trunk. One big bird. Speaking of birds, these are the Orlando vulture, the black ones that all live to vacation here in Africa, and they never like to leave. Now a group of vultures is called committee. As you can see, they're having a very important meeting. As a reminder, please be fully seated at all times on the left upon the Nile crocodiles. 20 feet long, weigh approximately 500 pounds. They can also eat half of their body weight in one sitting. Their jaws are strong enough to squish anything that may come in their way. If you see any of them with their mouth open, that's how they regulate their body temperature. Normally, it's very common here in Africa. If you'd like to see one up close and personal, head into Dinoland. They are the closest known living relative to the dinosaur. There is one across the Restaurantosaurus for you to see up close and personal. A group of crocodiles on land is called a bounce, and a group of crocodiles in the water is called a float. They can lay around 50 to 80 eggs in one sitting, transplant them in the mouth all at once. They can also roll them around in the mouth until the hatch of the time. Our next stop, we're heading up here into the savannah, home to the lovely vagabond tree over here on the right-hand side. The vagabond tree is known as the upside down tree. It grows leafless up to 9 months out of the year. It grows to be several thousands of years old. According to African folktale, the creator made the world to have the world just the way he wanted it. But he reached to his creation back, and he found a tree. He didn't want the tree since his mold was perfect. So he threw it over his shoulder and laid it upside down. Now we have the vagabond tree. The only other place to see one other than here in Africa is the Tree of Life. There's over 300 animals carved into the Tree of Life. So the next time you're over at Stuff to Be a Bug, try to find as many animals as you can. I guarantee you will find a different one every time you look. Very close. Here on the right, you're going to see some zebras. The Hartman's mountain zebras. So just like how there's different kinds of cats and dogs, there are different kinds of zebras. There's 3 different species of the zebra. Now we have the Hartman's mountain zebras. They are the largest zebra species. They have the large stripes of any zebra. They are black with white stripes. They have a black nose. If they would have a pink nose, they would be white with black stripes. When they are born, they're born with the legs almost as long as they will be throughout their entire life. They also imprint on their mother, which means they recognize their stripe pattern for them to report back to the main zebra at the end of the day. African wild dogs here on the left, they are not hyenas. They are different animals and different species. The dogs are in the canine family. The hyenas are in their own species called Hyenidae. They usually get swapped out within the next hour, so I recommend coming back at about 4:30 or after to see the hyenas. Now the African wild dogs are known as PETA dogs. Each of them have a different coat that's unique. No 2 dogs are alike. There'll be in packs from 5 to 15 dogs that make a dominant male and female. Whichever one is at the bottom of the food chain is going to eat first and grow stronger for the group. In turn, that makes them one of the most dangerous animals in all of Africa. And they work together to outrun the prey to the point of exhaustion. Wildebeests here on the left-hand side. The gray animals, also the sable antelope, which are back to that left-hand corner. The chocolate-colored antelopes, the sable antelope, are the official emblem of our Harambe Wildlife Reserve. A group of wildebeest is called a confusion. When they stand there, they look confused. That is the actual reason why they're called confusion. Now here to the right, you'll see the smaller runaway antelopes. They are the springbok. They get their name because they can spring 6 feet up in the air, leap 13 feet forward at any given time. They can reach a speed of 55 miles per hour. When they do those things, it's called pronking, P-R-O-N-K-I-N-G. Imagine prancing around kind of like reindeer. It's kind of how they're running. They are actually going to do that in the wild to alert all the other animals that something is wrong. They are essentially the town criers. Now here on our savanna, they don't do that to alert that something is wrong because we don't have that circle of life here on the reserve. They just kind of do that to mimic that trait. Well, then there's more wildebeest come in this way here on the left, well, at least one. They have one of the largest migrations in the entire world. They migrate once a year, that's 1.5 million wildebeest, up to 1,000 miles each. It's called the Great Migration. It does happen every year in Africa. They're fully grown. They are 6 feet tall when they're born. They give birth standing up. So the first thing that they experience, they 6-foot drop to the ground. Now they eat for 20 hours of the day. So their tongue is normally outside of their mouth for that point in time because their tongue is 2 feet long. So it's purple so that it doesn't get sunburned. Very cool. They're going to sleep for 30 minutes the entire day. So oftentimes they'll take 5-minute micro naps throughout the day. They'll sleep standing up with their eyes open, so a good indicator to see if they'll be sleeping is to see if their mouth is moving. Look at the baby giraffe here on the left. We have 2 of them. The ones they're standing up there on the left is also the baby. They are 5 months old. They are born 2 weeks apart, so they are best friends. They're really cute together. We have the Maasai giraffes. So like I talked about with the zebras, there's different kinds of zebras. There are different kinds of giraffes. 4 different species and 5 different subspecies. We have the Maasai giraffes. If you looked up on the middle of the spotting dot, you can also head over to the Animal Kingdom Lodge. They have the reticulated giraffe over there. Left, you'll find some monkeys. Mandrills are the largest monkey species. Males will be around 100 pounds and females cap out at around 20 pounds each. We have 2 babies. So we have Ivy, who's 3 weeks old, and Olive is about 5 months old. So keep an eye out for some smaller ones, especially if you see a little baby hanging on a smaller monkey. That's going to be mom and baby. But also look down below here as well. And there's a back-sided elephant there to your right. This is the male elephant since there's only one. At the age of 13, the male elephants will literally get kicked out of the female herd, sent off on a group of their own to find a match to the herd of elephants comprised of older males. Then to teach the other elephant how to become a better elephant. Now we have researchers here that work on the reserve. They help study the animals, help them live better in the wild. One thing that they figured out here on the reserve is the elephants are afraid of bees. They're rather intelligent animals that can hear up to 3 miles away. Our researchers played some different sounds for them to see if they could make it, and we figured out that they were afraid of bees independently. So we ended up relaying that information to other reserves and farms around the world. It turns out in other parts of the world, elephants are rather just farms and destroying everything. So the farmers decided to put wicket highs around the perimeter of the property in order for that to help keep the elephants away. So it's very cool that we did that here in Animal Kingdom, and I wonder what we are going to do next. Which is one of the reasons they can go leafless for so long. In the middle of a drought, elephants will punch holes into the baobab trees to get their water from there. They can store around 6 gallons of water in their trunk to save for later. Yeah, they have over 100,000 muscles in their trunk, which is way more than we have in our entire body. Greater Flamingo here to the left, we're going to find another giraffe here on the right, as well as the Neanderthal cattle on the right as well. The Greater Flamingo are the largest pink flamingo in all of Africa. They stand 5 feet tall, weigh approximately 9 pounds. To your right, the Neanderthal cattle are very large horns. They stand 6 feet tip to tip, but they are not heavy at all. They're only 5 to 10 pounds each. They're made of a honeycomb structure. Their blood will run through them to help keep them cool. So on a hot day, they're able to push the blood up all the way to the top of their horns to help regulate their body temperature. Like how this drop is like being a stick with a branch you put. Let's get every last leaf off of this branch. Now back in the forest, if you remember, we found the black rhino, 3,000 pound solitary animal subspecies to the white rhino. The white rhino, here on the left, they're 5,000 pounds. They're social animals, and they like to live in a group called a crash. They have very poor eyesight, so the only way to know if they'll bump into something is if they crash into it. They can't see more than 5 to 10 feet in front of them, which is why they're very susceptible to poaching and crashing into things. This is one of our keepers. Another rhino coming up ahead as well. You see the keepers in here in the green trucks. They're just making sure the animals are doing okay, and they help us. They help encourage the animals to get out of the road if they're in the road as well. So everybody see them out here, give them a wave and say jumbo. Tell them to do a great job. What rhinos like to live in a group called crash. They're very poor eyesight, so the only way to know if they'll bump into something is if they crash into it. They can't see more than 5 to 10 feet in front of them, which is why they're very susceptible to poaching and crashing into things. Since they are rather blind, they do have little hairs up the top of their ears to help enhance the hearing. They get their name from an Afrikaans word bite. It means why do they have a wider set jaw than the black rhino? So they were supposed to be helping fight rhinos, but due to mistranslation, they are the white rhinos. So if you look here on the left-hand side, you see this log in the middle of the yard. Follow that log to the left. There are 2 cheetahs laying down next to that log there on the left-hand side. They are the logs that are flicking their tails back and forth. Cheetahs are daytime predators. They hunt during the day. They are more successful than nighttime predators. That's one of the reasons they have the black stripes by their eyes while at the aurora of sunglasses and deflect the sun. Now they are the fastest land animal as well. They can run 0 to 60 miles per hour in just a couple of seconds. They can't keep their speed for very long, just a couple hundred meters. If they can't catch whatever they're after within that short amount of time, they'll have to rest and try again a little bit later. They are the only predator to still firm when they reach adulthood. All the other bigger cats will roar or growl. If you're ever in Africa and you hear roaring from a bush, good luck. Now lions are nocturnal. They hunt at night. Females will be the ones that will lead the hunt scene. The males do back in death pride, which is what we call a group of lions, is a pride. They are only active for a couple hours each day. They sleep for 20 hours, which means collectively throughout their entire lifetime, they're only awake for 3 years. And it's with their 11 to 12-year lifespan, which is this age for this meat cheetah. Now the lions hate the humidity. They aren't normally out here at this time of the day. Now my last round, I didn't personally see them, but everybody else did. So keep an eye out kind of in the middle of the rocks over here, underneath a couple of the trees. And if you guys can find any lions over here, that like to hide in the shade. It's further down in the rocks. If you guys see one, feel free to shout it out. Otherwise, they could be down a lot further. Be careful. Alright, doesn't look like there's one over here, so come back a little bit later, somewhere when the humidity starts to go down a little bit. Probably within the next hour, you might see those lines a little bit more active. No promises though. Here on the left, warthog. There's one climbing back over there by the last burrow, and there's one over here in this middle burrow as well. Warthogs have 4 different tusks, 2 for burrowing, 2 for defense. At the end of the night, they back themselves up into the burrows, get the tusks out, and defend themselves from predators. Now these oryx, these white animals, they're keeping that warthog safe over there. They're actually the very first sighting to the unicorn. Yeah, I'm talking about you. Yes, you're very cute. They have 2 horns and curve backwards. They are symmetrical, so when lifted from the side, it looks like they only have 1 horn. Someone in Africa many years ago tried to tie their horns together in order for them to grow to 1 horn, which didn't work very well. We still have the oryx, they still have 2 horns, and we have a horn. Well, kind of. The oryx mainly lives in the desert. They can go 115 degrees without ever sweating, and also go 9 months without drinking any water. They have very wide hooves, so they're able to sustain themselves when walking on the sand. They don't walk around very often. There were only 20 of them left in the entire world after about 20 years ago. One reserve over in Africa went and rescued them all, brought them to the reserve, repopulated them, and now there's over 90 of them living on the reserve today. Really great and successful conservation story, and one of my favorites to share. Now this area used to be used as a passageway in between different parts of the savannah for some of our different animals. The warden took notice of that, and he now has a farm and raises the Nigerian dwarf goats. Looks like they're on top of the hill, so let's around the corner and find a better view of them over here. They're only 2 feet tall. They are not going to get any bigger. They are fully grown. They are dairy goats. Their mouth will help provide some of the villages over here in the area. Now they're going to play with one another. It's going to help them mature and develop those qualities they need for being an adult goat. If you visit Rafiki's plan to watch before 4:30, that's when the last train departs. Here at at 4:30, they have the affection section, which is the petting zoo, where you can pet some barred animals, kind of like our goat friends here on the left. Now these are the warden's goats. They do stay here on his farm, but if you head over to Rafiki's plan to watch, they do have different barred animals for you to pet over there. So you got about an hour for the last train, so I would go do that very soon if you haven't done that already today. Now remember to help protect the local wildlife. All you have to do is just recycle. Recycling your park maps, your water bottles, even recycling your old cell phones. A lot of these animals hope they're being mined for a mineral called lithium, which is found in your electronics. So by recycling your electronics, you rid of the whole save the whole of that animal. You can also donate to Disney's Conservation Fund. Right now they're working with about 13 different species, including African wild dogs, sea turtles, tiger, coral, rhinos, and many other animals. Learn more about that at any merchandise